Hello guys, I'm back. I'm back better than ever. Don't quote me on that. And welcome back to Dumb Things Weekly. Yeah, and I changed the title of the series. You have no say in the matter. Not that anyone cares at all. So some new things. I started HRT on May 9th, exactly 3 months after coming out. And I've been feeling better than ever. No better time to make a video than when you're feeling on top of your game. I usually touch on social issues more than politics, but Australia had its federal election last Saturday. Let's just say I'm not happy with the results. But the reason I'm making this video is because on election day, I was volunteering for the Greens. Come at me. I haven't had a more eventful day in my life. And since it was the most eventful day of my life, it's only right that I talk about my day as a Greens volunteer. And not only that, but an alleged assault. But we'll get to that in a second, okay? Firstly, I'd just like to say that I have no regrets volunteering for the Greens. I'm very glad that I could contribute to re-electing Senator for Western Australia, Jordan Steele-John. He's the youngest person in Parliament and he has cerebral palsy. As you can see right here, I've got a Jordan Steele-John poster that was used for the campaign. So as a volunteer, I was handing out how to vote cards to people. As you can see, you've got Jordan Steele-John there, and I actually managed to get his signature, which was really cool because he's an inspiring guy. To Jemma, thank you, and there's his signature. Now let's talk about what happened on election day at South Balladura Primary School. So at 1 o'clock, I arrived at the polling booth to hand out the how to vote cards for the Greens. So because I know your attention span is extremely limited as shown by my analytics, thanks guys for actually not watching the video. But I don't blame you, my videos are terrible. So before I talk to you about my discussions with members of different political parties, let's talk about an alleged assault that occurred at the polling booth. I don't know if I can directly discuss or disclose any information about what occurred because right now the matter is with the police. I recorded part of the incident, but I've signed an exclusivity deal with Channel 9 and I can only provide the footage to the police and Channel 9, and I got paid $250 from Channel 9. Thank you, Channel 9. The best I can do for you is read an excerpt from msn.com. So here's the excerpt from msn.com. So the article is called One Nation Volunteer Attacked in Western Australia. A One Nation volunteer has allegedly been attacked at a polling station in the seat currently held by the country's first Muslim woman elected to federal parliament. One Nation Senator Peter Giorgio posted photographs on social media on Saturday of a man bleeding. I would show these photos personally, but number one, I don't know if it would abide by the guidelines provided by YouTube. I'll leave it up to you. If you're interested, you can find these photos. He said the volunteer had been targeted by a family of 5 in a random racist attack in the seat of Cowan. The man was allegedly called a white dog. Regardless of your position on Australian politics or politics in general, whether or not you're indifferent, you don't care, or you're really passionate about it, I think we can all agree that in a place that's meant to be a sanctuary for democracy and on a day of celebration of our great nation and democracy, it's a great shame that there would be any alleged attacks or assaults in an area that celebrates democracy. So that's all I'm gonna say on that topic. In this segment, I discuss my interactions with volunteers of different political parties. And you don't have to care about politics at all, because this one's spicy. I have a bottle of white wine yet to be opened. I guess I'm violating the sanctity of my Polish heritage by not consuming vodka today, but I feel like wine. Tell me in the comments, vodka or wine? So at this polling booth, I spoke to members of all political backgrounds, and I wanted to understand their reasons for supporting their party. Just have a nice discussion. For once, unlike the internet, there was political discourse. On my political journey on election day, I first spoke to a One Nation volunteer, the one who was directly involved in the alleged assault I had referred to previously. As we were standing handing out the how to vote card, he asked me, "So are you turning into a boy, or are you turning into a chick?" I don't know why, but I just found that so funny. And he meant well. When the One Nation camp was packing up, that man came up to me personally and addressed me as Jemma, shook my hand and said thank you for speaking to him and being respectful. And I'm going to talk about two more people that I spoke to. I spoke to the Fraser Anning volunteer. And I asked him, "Excuse me for bothering you. And I mean no disrespect, but may I ask why you support Fraser Anning?" To which he replied, "Muslims." And lastly, I would like to talk about the Liberal volunteer that I spoke to. He was actually somewhat respectful, although sometimes he was a bit demeaning. So I went to this Liberal and asked him, "What's your position on the continued use of coal as a means of energy in Australia? I would rather just continue using the current coal mines we have and invest as much as it is economically viable into renewables, which would create new jobs at the same time as retaining the old one." And this Liberal provided a fantastic analogy. He said to me, "Would you rather save the planet or keep your house warm?" To which I replied, "I'd like to save the planet." And I think most people would. And he replied, "Well, what about the people in Tasmania who are going to be cold?" I was baffled. I'm not going to lie. Because his retort was so incomprehensible, yet he was like, got it.
I don't care about your feelings. Like,
You can't rebut that one. And I know there are more intelligent Liberals out there, but this guy... I would just like to say that that analogy was the worst analogy I have ever heard in my entire life. That analogy should be a Greens slogan. So honestly, that's all I really wanted to say in this video. But afterwards, I was invited by a member of the Labour Party who took notice of my political activism and my passion for politics, and she invited me to the office of the member for my local electorate, Rita Safiotti, and she actually asked me if I wanted to meet her. And on Friday, I did. She actually asked me afterwards if I'd like to meet a senator from Western Australia, Senator Louise Pratt. She works in the Australian Senate, and she's the second openly lesbian member of Parliament. That was just some extra information. Also, my grandmother has been giving me all this red clothing since I joined the Labour Party. Dziękuję bardzo. So that was this episode of Dumb Things Weekly. I have a video planned for the upcoming week or so. No one watches my videos, so no one will enjoy it. I love you guys. See ya.